Hey everybody, Scott here from Wieners and Losers. I just interviewed a guy named Brad DuPont, and Brad lives in New Jersey, and he was an 80s kid just like me. He won his very own arcade game when he was a kid, which would have been a dream scenario for any of us 80s kids. He won it from, believe it or not, a box of cereal. There was a cereal called Halfsies, a lesser known cereal. I don't remember this cereal. I never even knew it existed. But anyway, it came with a map, and there was like a little looking glass that came with it. You hold the looking glass up to the map, and it would say something like "not a winner." And of course, if you won, it would say the name of the game that you won. And they were giving away 3 games: Super Zaxxon, Star Trek, and Pingo. And Brad won Pingo. I think I would have preferred Pingo or Star Trek over Super Zaxxon, but beggars can't be choosers. And Brad's going to tell his story. And without further ado, here it is.
In the summer of 1982, it was announced by this new cereal. Now, if you remember the very early 80s, that's when NutraSweet came out. So it was
Right.
brand new and exciting, and it was a healthy way to get sugar to have sweets, which we both know is not the case. But nonetheless, there was a cereal called Halfsies, and I'll never forget the cereal. The logo was this King Halfsies, and it was nothing more than sweetened sugar with all the chemicals that you can't have when you're young, even though we're still sitting here. And in the summer of 1982, they put out a promotion. Actually, I think it was the spring. They're giving away 500 arcade games, and I said to myself, "Wow, I've got to start eating this cereal." Their marketing worked really well on me.
Boy, you sure do like Halsey's cereal. And this video arcade game I won. The real thing?
You too could win a
Super Marathon!
or Star Trek
Wow.
or Pango
Wow.
video arcade game. The Magic Motion poster and screen that tell you if you've won are in specially marked boxes of Halfsies. For a free poster and screen, write Halfsies, Box 7922, Chicago, Illinois 60680. Chance to win is 1 in 13,000, and Halfsies makes it fun to try.
I went to my parents and I said, I'm going to start eating Halfsies exclusively. This family needs Halfsies every week. So after my parents seeing what I went through to try and win with Starcade, they were completely open to the fact, sure, go for it. We'll get cereal. We'll get 2 boxes a week if it makes
That's
it happen.
awesome.
I said, this is my chance. This is it, right? So I actually, at that age, used to go with my mother on Fridays to just help her out with grocery shopping. So keeping in mind, I'm 12 years old at this point. And first thing I used to do when I got into the supermarket was get over to the cereal section and make sure I pick out my 2 boxes. It came to a point where I didn't even get into how desperate I started feeling after like 6 or 7 weeks where I just kept getting try again. I started closing my eyes. This is a crazy story. I would tell my close friends. I'd see the row of Halfsies, and I'd start closing my eyes and saying, does this one feel warm? They're like, look, I'm trying to just show me a sign. Which box am I taking here?
So you were the one that picked out the boxes?
I picked 2 boxes out every Friday, and I went and I spent 10 minutes looking for just the right box. It was like free lottery, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I didn't care about money. I cared about video games. So the first week bringing home the boxes, it was learning how the game works. So a quick, I'm not sure if you're familiar at all, Scott, with how the game was, but I can explain it because it's burned in my head. So at the bottom of the open cereal, there's a little plastic wrapper. Inside the plastic wrapper is a little folded sheet as well as a little plastic magic window, they called it. So what you do is you rip open the plastic, pull out the sheet, and open it up. And when you opened it up, and I really wish I had kept this, what you see inside is what's, I guess you could call the equivalent of a QR code in 1982. It was kind of like a 3D-ish emblem that that you need to put the little magic window on.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal of the game was the ability for you to win one of 3 video games. So you know these games very well. The first one was Super Zaxxon.
Right.
Can you imagine having a chance at winning a Super Zaxxon at 12 years old, having played the game, right? You're very familiar with how the game plays.
That would have been a dream.
A dream. Well, just when you think that's great, the next game is Star Trek. one of the first games. I mean, Star Wars had the voices from the actual Star Wars movie. Star Trek did a better job, I feel, than the Star Wars video game of incorporating Spock's voice. I'm sure. I don't know if you. I think we all have opinions on that. The gameplay I really enjoyed on Star Trek, and it was one of the first games I ever played where they actually had the full sit-down version in the arcade, if you recall,
Oh yeah.
rather than the stand-up. At least the first games I played. I'm sure they had other ones, right?
Yeah.
And the third type of game they were giving away was Pengo. Well, Pengo. Who cares about Pengo? I've never played it. It looks like a knockoff of Pac-Man. I just want to win Zaxxon. I want to win Super Zaxxon. I want to win Star Trek. Let's go. So I opened my little sheet first week, and the words you see when you put the magic window up were "try again." Okay. So I get to my second box. Of course, I didn't eat any of the cereal. I just got right to the game piece. Opened up the second box, put my magic window on, and it said "try again." All right. Well, there's always next week. I can't get another box. Fast forward to next Friday. You might understand that this, I rinsed and repeat through this for many, many weeks. And each week it was like a different experience, like a new hope. I can win it this week. I was so certain that my life was destined to have a full-size arcade game in my basement, that there's all this talk about putting things in the atmosphere these days. And
Right.
I've never really believed that, but I really should think twice about that, because I was a product of that actually happening. If you believe in something long enough, it's akin to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, right?
Yeah.
Charlie never got his golden ticket. Well, fast forward a few weeks into the summer of '82. One day I came home with my mom, as I do every Friday, and opened up my box of Halfsies and checked my window. And I had gotten so good at looking at it, I didn't even need the magic window. I knew what the obfuscated "try again" looked like. Well,
Yeah.
this one looked different. And I went, this one looks different. And my heart rate went up a little bit. I was, well, what does this say? This is not "try again." And as I'm fumbling for the magic window, it was just like a feeling of euphoria, because I absolutely knew that I was about to win a video game. And I threw it up, and it said the word Pengo.
Oh.
12 years old, knowing that you've just won a video game, which is essentially unattainable at that age. I mean, there's no means for making money. And I don't know a parent in the world these days. Well, there are a few, but I'm certainly not one of them who's going to go out and buy a full-size video arcade game for their kid.
Oh yeah. Well, I wondered how how they went about giving away those particular games.
Right. It was in those sheets. And I still wonder to this day what the distribution was of the games that I felt were premium and Pengo. And I've been making the joke with friends my whole life. They probably gave away 450 Pengos and 25 Super Zaxxon and 25 Star Trek machines, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but nonetheless, I don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I just won a Pango machine. So my initial reaction was, I'm sitting at the kitchen table. It's Friday afternoon. I run over to my mom, like, Mom, we won. In hindsight, I could see the reaction that my mom had was probably more common than what I was expecting when I told her that I won a video game. She said, "Oh, come on. Oh, come on. What makes you think you won?" What the parents don't understand here, Scott, is there's nothing, there's nobody in the United States of America who knows the actions necessary to determine if I had won more than 12-year-old Brad DuPont.
Absolutely.
Like when you think about your love of video games is amazing, and when you think about just like the passion you had for those when you were younger, and everything that it meant, like no one can get in my way on this. So I explained to her as calmly as I possibly could, "Mom, I guarantee you that this is a winner, and this is why." And my mother, being the sweetheart that she was my entire life, went through the magic window thing with me, and I showed her the next box, which had to "try again,"
Hmm.
and why "try again" is lose, Pango is win. We just won. I'm sure she wasn't excited as I was, but she was definitely excited for me. So her answer to me was, one I didn't expect. Let's wait till your dad gets home so we can make sure this is working. Now, my dad would have no idea what's going on with this. I was the only one in this house who knew that I had won, and it was a winner. So, long story short, sure enough, it's a winner. So, registered mail, signed the sheet, We had to submit a claim to General Mills, I think it was, who makes Halfsies,
Hmm.
and we were told through correspondence in the mail, and we're talking about a different time, right?
Right.
Uh, in the mail saying, "Congratulations on your win. Your machine will be delivered in 6 to 8 weeks." 2025, 6 to 8 weeks isn't a big deal. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But to a 12-year-old who just wanted an arcade game in 1982, that may as well have been 6 to 8 years, right?
Yeah. That's incredible. That's funny because I had wondered if you had ever even played Pingo before that experience.
That's a that's an excellent point, and I have an interesting story on that one. That summer, I was born in Canada, and I moved here in 1976, 77, somewhere in that area. So I'd only been in the United States a few years at that point. But as it happened that summer, we were taking a trip to visit my grandparents, who where my mother and father were both raised in a small town in Saskatchewan called Wynyard. So Wynyard had a population of about 1,200 people. It was tiny, right? But what they did have was this really cool arcade that had two or three video games. And when we got there, lo and behold, first place, of course, I went that summer as we were waiting for the video game was to the arcade to see what games they had. And as luck would have it, they had Pengo. I had never played it.
Wow.
And when I saw the Pengo machine at the arcade for the week that we were staying in Canada, I that was it. I said, "Dad, I need as many quarters as you possibly have. I got to learn how to play this game, even though it's shipping to us and it'll be here in 6 to 8 weeks."
That's
So
hilarious.
I got a crash course in Pengo, and it only increased my excitement for what was coming later that summer.
That would have been every kid's dream to win their very own arcade game. And I know that the Game Show Starcade was a teaser for that sort of thing to us 80s kids back then. What's your favorite 80s arcade game?
Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting. For at least the summer of '82, it was Pengo. Dragon's Lair was great. I think I spent about $300 on Dragon's Lair, and I can never get further than probably about halfway through.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of all the Mario, Donkey Kong.
Oh yeah.
I was one of the few people who was absolutely in love with the Popeye video game. I don't. You probably have that in your.
I do.
I'm impressed. I'll tell you what, Scott. I'm going to be coming down to North Carolina, and I will 100% stop by there. If I had known about what you had, I used to travel every summer with my family down to Hilton Head, and we drove.
Yeah.
Like every year for 10 years. I would have made one night stop at your Airbnb.
Oh yeah. Did you actually like Halvesies? Like, what did that taste like?
It was an acquired taste. It was just it was like sweetened corn checks, right?
Yeah.
With the chemically powder that every teenager loved when NutraSweet became a thing.
Uh,
It was tasty. It was a sugary cereal. God knows I ate enough of it. Uh,
yeah, I
but
bet.
needless to say, we weren't huge consumers of Halfsies after that week. I had already won my game, so I was one of 500 lucky kids in the United States.
That's amazing. So, was there any sort of newspaper publication, or was there any recognition at school or anything like that for you?
No, I don't think anyone held it in high regard at that time. But I will say, Scott, the recognition came strictly through social means in 1982. So when, as incredulous as everyone was early on that I had won, um, I had a hard time finding believers. And I kept telling them, yeah, this 12-year-old is going to have a video game in his house in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Oh, sure, sure. What other stories you have to tell us? Sure.
Oh yeah.
So, and knowing that it's a different time, we didn't have a date when it was going to be coming. It said 6 to 8 weeks. We had no idea how it was coming. We got a letter saying that it would be shipping, but they give us a very, very vague window of when they expected it to be coming. We couldn't track packages through UPS. We couldn't get instant text alerts on our cell phones. We just waited. So every day when we approached the 6 to 8 weeks, I'd come home from school. And the first place I'd run is in the back of my house to look in the garage to see if the big box came yet. And each day, all I thought about all day was when I get home, I might have a video game sitting in my garage. And every day it came, it felt like it was just another disappointment. Like, no, it's not
Oh yeah.
happening.
I'll bet. Well, what was it like when it finally showed up?
The day, I'll never forget it. The day I came home, I looked in the window and I could see it before I even got to my garage door. I could see the top of the box in the window.
Oh yeah.
And I said, this is it. It's time. And sure enough, there it is in all its glory. And it could have been 1 o'clock in the morning, and you couldn't have kept me out from opening that box and figuring out what was in it. So it was something to see. It's funny. You remember everything, the visual, what the garage smelled like when I opened it. When I lifted the box, the smell of the styrofoam plus the new wood used
Yeah.
to make the cabinet
Yeah.
thing. I said, "This is my machine now, and it's in my house." It was unbelievable
Yeah.
to plug it in and then hear the game start up and to see like the EEPROM test and all of the things that it goes through. So the feeling was really incredible. I plugged it in, and needless to say, in a short few weeks, I was the king of Pango.
I'll
Uh,
bet, and I'll bet you were the most popular kid in town.
Everyone wanted to come to my garage. My parents wouldn't let it come in the house just quite yet until we had room for it. So I had no problem with that. I'll just stay in the garage all afternoon after school and pretty much into 10, 11 o'clock at night, just playing Pango. I just can't stop playing Pango.
That's well. Now here's the big question: do you still have it?
Not only do I have it, um, it well, it's not in my personal house. It's in the same spot where we kept it at the home I grew up in. It's on the other side of my town, and it hasn't changed. It's still in perfect working order. It looks like it just showed up.
Wow. Thanks for joining me, Brad. It was awesome to hear about the Halfsies cereal promotion and you winning your own Pingo machine. That's a dream. So good for you. And I'm so impressed that you still have it. And you
Yeah.
sent me a couple of pictures. And if you don't mind, I might put those in with this video that I'm putting together.
Yeah, thanks for the time. This was great just to talk to you. I really appreciate everything you're doing with your endeavor. I really look forward to getting over there and seeing your museum. It's been a great time just spending the hour talking with you and like-minded individuals. Good stuff.
Same
Absolutely.
here. Absolutely. Same here. We lived through something very special, no doubt.
No doubt. No doubt.
I can't believe that they gave that many games away because when I first learned about this Halvesies cereal promotion and I saw that it was Super Zaxxon, Star Trek, and Pingo, I told my brother, I said, I'll bet you they had one of each of those games and gave one of each away because that's just what made sense to me. I just thought there's no way they're going to have more. Why would they do that? Why would they spend that money or, maybe it was a, cross promotion thing where they were just given to them. I don't know, but so they had 500 games total.
500 total. And
Gosh,
boy, they said, hey, let's buy a bunch of these crazy video games these kids love and tell them that they're going to win one if they buy 2 boxes a week. And, hook, line, and sinker. I'm like a fish. Like, you got me. There was a video game show called Starcade
I know
that
all about it.
premiered. You know all about it, right? Every now and then, my parents would take me to the mall. There was a mall here in Wayne, New Jersey, that had an outstanding arcade in the early '80s. And the times that I got to go with them, and I'd find my way to have a few bucks to play some of the games, were some of the happiest days of my young life. So you can imagine how exciting it was when you learn that there's a game show where you can go on play a video game, which I thought I was pretty good at that age, keeping in mind that I'm 10, 11 years old at this point. And if you beat your opponent, you take home a brand new arcade game. To me, owning the Yankees wouldn't have been as good as coming home with a video arcade game, right?
Right.
So I tried. I sent letters in, snail mail. I'm 11 years old at this point, trying to get on this show, writing them. One day I got a postcard back saying that I have a spot if I want it. Come on out and let's play. And I lost my mind. I'm like, I'm going to win a video game. This is going to be it. This is it. And I think that was sometime, it was either 81, 82, whatever it was. But I also didn't know at that young age that this place happened to be on the West Coast in Los Angeles. Living on the East Coast and being 11 years old, my means of getting to the West Coast were zero. And I don't think, having raised a family of my own, I don't think I would have been too excited about having them or paying for my kids to go out west to play in an arcade game themed show. So I was heartbroken to have. Do you remember that show with Ricky Schroeder called Silver Spoons?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I used to watch that show just because he had his own arcade game.
Me too.
He was rich, but he had his own arcade in his house, and I used to think, could you imagine waking up and going downstairs and having an arcade right in your house?